What is up, Wretched Nation? We're going to do a quick vlog. I'm going to try this out and see what you guys think. Just a vlog while I'm out riding around on the bike. I had an idea pop in my head and maybe start a conversation. This isn't a hate vlog or anything like that. As you can see by the title, you probably think that I hate Harley Sportsters or anything like that. But I'm here to tell you that my very first bike, very first Harley, very first anything on two wheels was a Harley Davidson Sportster 883. Now, it was a 2010. I don't know if, I can't remember when the irons first came out. I want to say it was after that or right around that. But how that bike came about was my brother was serving overseas, and he decided when he came back he was going to get a motorcycle. So he up and spent his money on a brand new Sportster Low 883. He had it for a couple years, done some different stuff to it, and once he came back, and that was my first real experience with motorcycles. We're basically just going to go into a backstory real quick before we jump into the so-called hate. But that was my first real experience with motorcycles. It was that bike. That's how I learned to ride motorcycles. I actually would ride that around the yard, go up and down the driveway. I had a long driveway. Because that was, I want to say I was in my last year of high school, or the year after, but that's where I learned to ride. I ended up splitting some money with him, helped pay for services, and helped work on the bike, and he let me ride it pretty much whenever I wanted if he wasn't already riding it. I got my license and all that good stuff. But that was my first bike. Love that bike. But in my opinion, the worst bike you could ever leave out of a Harley dealership is an Iron 883. That's the worst bike. And the reason being, in my opinion, doesn't really have anything to do with the motorcycle. It's just what Harley is offering. Because right now, as last I looked at their page and what they have available, they don't quote me on any of this, but your standard Harley Davidson Sportster is $9,000. The Iron 883. Now, if I remember correctly, the 1200 iron is only $1,000 more, and it has like a little mini fairing, a little bit higher handlebars. I can't remember the controls, whether it be forward or mid on I'm pretty sure the 883 has mids, but I'm not 100% sure on the 1200. I can't remember. But that's going to be kind of up to you. Because that definitely is personal preference. That's no value to me. But only $1,000 more, that 1200 gives you so much more. Even though that bike's at $10,000. Now, Harley does have the Street. They got the Street 500, 750, and then the little hopped up 750. Now, the Streets, even though I've never ridden them, people say the Streets are a lot more fun to ride and a lot better bike than a Sportster as far as like right out of the box. And for a little bit less money. But that Sportster 883 has not changed in a couple decades. probably more than that. I don't remember. I want to say it's late 80s, somewhere around there. Basically, once it got past the iron head, the bike hasn't changed fundamentally. Some things that's been updated, but it hasn't changed, which is just crazy. That bike has been the same for so long, which is a good thing and a bad thing. In my opinion, it's a good thing for the bike if you like it, but it's a bad thing for the sale value new, because in my opinion, a Sportster is worth about $4,000. That's mostly its top. I'm sure, like if you were to buy a brand new Sportster 883 and you asked me how much money I would give you today, tops, like maximum, if it was nice, perfect condition, brand new, I'd give you $6,000 for it, because that's what it's worth. And I don't determine that. The market determines that. And the fact of the matter is, you can go on Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace, you type in Sportster for sale, and they're everywhere. Now, the chance of you finding a stock Iron 883 is pretty low, because that's a very rare thing to find, because everyone's going to change something, because that's what that bike is. That bike is a blank canvas. That bike is designed to have everything changed on it. It's designed to be tailored towards what you want, what you need, and fit your personality. So, getting it completely stock isn't really a benefit, but I guarantee you, you can go out and you can probably find a Sportster you like. It may not be 100% everything you want, but you can find a Sportster you're happy with in a year range that you're happy with. And don't be afraid of the carbureted ones. They're not bad bikes. Don't be, oh, I have to have fuel injection. And if that's a must for you, that's fine. There's plenty of them out there. But for you to go out and spend $5,000, you can get a really nice Sportster. And you can probably get one that's already got the 1200 kit done to it, or just a 1200 in general. In my head, 5,000 is high. That's for the people who are picky and want it 100% perfect, or there's a very special model they're looking for, or whatever, maybe a specific color or something like that. But in my head, you can find, and I've seen them out there, and it might be more difficult in certain areas, but if you're willing to travel a little bit, you can go out and you can find a really nice Sportster for probably $3,000 and put whatever work you want towards it. But for $5,000 all in, you can get one a little bit cheap, do some upgrades yourself, because the flip side is, because this bike hasn't changed in decades, there is an ungodly amount of aftermarket support, and it's cheap. So cheap to put a Sportster together that, why not? That is the perfect bike to learn on. Not just to learn to ride, but learn to work on. Because I guarantee you probably know somebody. You probably know somebody who works on Harleys, or has worked on Harleys, or has had one, who can help you probably. But they are the best first bikes to learn on overall. Which you probably wouldn't expect me to say that because of the title, but that's true. I don't hate the Harley Sportster. I think it's a great bike, if you pay for it correctly. If you go out and you go to a Harley shop and you got somebody who's trying to push you into a Sportster 883, you need to evaluate what's going on. because the value just isn't there. I mean, hell, the Softail Standard now, I believe, is $13,500. They do have some packages. I don't know how much the packages are, but they do have some packages that like set the bike up for certain riding styles. But $13,500 for a blank canvas on a Softail Standard. Why not? But before you go to a Harley shop and have it in your mind that, you know, you've seen the commercials, 0% down and, you know, 0% financing or whatever, and only $215 a month. But that $215 a month is probably for like 8 years. And with the financing and any little extra options you might put on from the factory that they're going to push you to, you're going to have like a $11,000, $12,000, $6,000 bike. Your bike has dropped 40 to 50% in value. And that's horrible. Not because the bike is bad, just because there's so many out there. There's so many options, which is great for consumers. It's just bad for the Harley shop. I mean, they used to have like 6 different Sportster models, probably more. They probably had 10 different Sportster models at one time. They don't need that many, because all it is the same bike, just redone. The bike hasn't changed. So, do yourself a favor. Look Facebook Marketplace, save up a little money. If you have to get like a personal loan or whatever to get your bike, just do it. Don't go to the Harley shop and get a Sportster. If you absolutely have to, think about maybe saving up a little bit more money and upgrading into something else. Maybe get that Iron 1200. Because at the very least there, you got a little bit higher bar that you'll probably end up wanting anyways. But the biggest thing is for $1,000, you have that 1200 kit. I mean, that's worth it from the factory. But I don't hate the Harley Sportster. I think it's a great bike. I just think it's the worst bike to buy brand new. There's so many other options out there. Again, I'm not the biggest advocate of buying a brand new bike anyways, even though I did. Even I feel like I should have waited a little bit, but I didn't. But definitely do some research, see what you can find, and put in the comment section below, what do you think? You know, is the Sportster, is there something different that you think is the worst bike to buy from Harley Davidson? We're going to try to keep it to that. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you agree that the Harley Davidson Sportster is the worst bike to buy brand new? Or do you think that it's a great deal? Do you think $9,000 for that bike? Now that's what I've seen as the MSRP. Now I'm sure someone got a killer deal at some point and got such a better deal, whatever. But I'm just giving the MSRP because I can't control what you do at Harley shops and, you know, what price they're giving. Plus, you got your taxes and all that kind of stuff, and add-ons and prep fees and just bullshit that you wouldn't pay, you know, from person to person. But what do you think? Am I right? Am I wrong? Comment down below. I'm sure if you don't agree, you'll say something. But as always, keep it wretched.